Good morning, and welcome again to another podcast, Down to Earth, but Heavenly Mounted. I just wanted to talk today a little bit about an article that appeared a couple years ago in the Times, uh, and it was this article that's right next to me here. I gotta clear my throat, so I'm gonna pause for a second. Well, yesterday, my son Uh, he cuts my grass and does my yard work. That's his business that he's in. And he has lunch with me, and we sat and we talked yesterday. And we were talking about schools. Now, he's got a son that's 12, and it's my grandson. And he had him in a parochial school. He took him out of the public school system because he says he wanted him to go to school where they at least taught morals. And the public school system's not doing that anymore. And I think all the problems started way back a couple of years ago when the Supreme Court outlawed prayer in schools. And it's a lot more than just not allowing prayer in school. I believe it's taken God out of school. And not only that, we've taken God out of just about everything, taken God out of our governments. And when you kick God out, the evil one comes in. And the whole system is failing. Now, when it comes to removing your children from the public school system, you only have a few alternatives. You send them to a private school, you send them to a good Christian school if there's one available, or a parochial school, or you homeschool them. Well, I'm seeing a lot of people that are homeschooling their children. And I think what's going to happen as things go down the line, because of all this garbage that's coming into our schools, trying to teach our kids all about sex and gender changes and all these different things. And not only that, they've changed the curriculum to the point where the kids are not getting the true history. They only teach evolution, they don't teach creationism. And because of all these things that are happening, the school system is failing. The government is failing. There is so much corruption in our government. Last night I just watched a couple clips because I don't watch the news anymore because you're not getting the truth. And I watched a couple clips on the YouTube channel of our government having hearings and how the FBI is covering up so much they will not answer a question correctly. They avoid the issue. People have lost all faith in so many systems of our government. I don't trust the CIA. I don't trust the FBI anymore. And I know a lot of other people that don't. And the reason for it is because God is not there. And the father of lies has taken over. And well, actually, he's always been in charge, but God has dampened his workings. But now that God is not there, there's nobody to stop all the crime that's going on. Uh, it the world is just in turmoil. And if you go and read the scriptures, you'll see that this was all predicted. Lawlessness, Good will be called evil, and evil will be called good. Children will disobey parents. This was all predicted just before the coming of the Lord. So if you look at current events, and I know it says that you're not supposed to look at current events in light of the Bible, but you can't miss it. It's there. We are to be prepared. The righteous king is coming, and he's going to set up a righteous government upon the earth for 1,000 years. And that's going to happen very soon. Well, I just wanted to let you know all these things that are happening because of the fact that God is not there anymore. I see what happened when the nation Israel fell into sin. The glory of God left the temple, left the tabernacle back in the wilderness, left the temple after it was built. And the reason for it is because sin was so blatant in your face, and that's what's happening today. You know, when I do happen to catch the news, they're sitting there lying right to your face, and you know that they are. And then you have uh, press conferences where people get on and talk about what's happening, and they just avoid all the issues and will not answer or give a straight answer. You know there's definitely something wrong. Now, even though God has taken prayer out of school, prayer out of government, I still pray. And I think the other Christians do the same thing. And this is the only thing that's keeping our country going. If it wasn't for Christians going before a holy God and praying and asking for mercy and praying for the government and praying for these evil people that are in power right now. And we are told to do this. We're told to pray. And God is still sovereign. God is allowing all this to happen. And I believe that because people are homeschooling, it isn't just Christians anymore that homeschool, it's non Christians also. But these non Christians get involved in homeschooling groups, which is predominantly Christian. And because of that, they're hearing about the things of God. And when they hear about the things of God, if they're anything like me, they're going to start investigating and they're going to start looking at the Bible. Maybe people that have never read the Bible before will be looking at the Bible. And I believe that God will turn this around and use it for good in a lot of cases. You know, I think back in the Bible when Joseph's brothers threw him in the pit, sold him into Egypt, and he ended up, because of the famine, saving the whole nation of Israel, which was his family at that time, because he stored grain. God gave him that vision. He answered Pharaoh's prayer. Pharaoh made him, put him in charge of everything. And he said one thing to his brothers, because his brothers were worried that he was going to retaliate against them. And Joseph said this: "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." So keep this in mind with all these evil things that are happening in the world today. Man meant it for evil, but God will turn it around for good. And I believe I'm seeing some good stuff come out of all this garbage. And that's that people are starting to read their Bibles and starting to see what's going on in the world today, how evil it is. Violence in the streets, looting. How can you have a business when people just walk right in and take what they want, and then the law doesn't do anything about it? Even if they get arrested, they don't get prosecuted. They don't go to jail. They get out free. This is not a game. This is life. This is reality. And it's happening before our eyes. You know, I've lived a long time, but I've never seen things as bad as it is today. And I know it's kind of a downer, and I don't want to leave you on this podcast down and out and just thinking of negative things. God is still in control. And I know the end of the story. I read the end of the book. God wins. Good triumphs over evil. Well, that's the end of the story. Paul Harvey would say that's the rest of the story. Well, with that said, I'm out of here. Bye for now.